Clear prop.
Star 73, Yankee number 2, following twin traffic, 3 mile final, clear Pleasantville. 1 Charlie Bravo, exit in runway 25, going 4 mile final.
This is Behind the Prop with United Flight Systems owner and licensed pilot Bobby Doss and his co-host, Major Airline Captain and designated pilot examiner Wally Mulhern. Now let's go Behind the Prop.
What's up, Wally?
Hey, Bobby, how are you?
I'm good. This is first of its kind for Behind the Prop. We're going to title this or call these midweek topics. As you notice, if you're downloading these episodes, this is a middle of the week episode that we've released. We get asked a lot of questions that really don't fill up an entire 30-minute type podcast episode. So we're going to probably start releasing these, maybe not every week, but occasionally during the week to answer some short topics. So about 2 weeks ago, we did an episode on 10 things student pilots do wrong. And we got a little bit of feedback that said, hey, what about instructors? What should instructors be doing better or different? And we decided, well, we are going to share the 5 things that we think all instructors should be held accountable for. And if your instructor's not doing this, then you need to ask them to be accountable to these 5 things. We're going to count them down in reverse order. So number 5 are logbook endorsements. There's no question that everyone's logbook is a little different, but it is your logbook, and you have to own it. As the student pilot, you have to own it. And at the end of the day, I think not every instructor is going to write in it the same way. What would you say, Wally, to students that they should hold their instructors accountable for as it relates to logbooks?
Well, your logbook is your record of your flight, and it's worth its weight in gold. A logbook is worth a lot of money, basically. So you want to make sure that the instructor accurately logs your flight. The other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that ground school is logged. In all likelihood, you're paying for ground school. So if you're paying for it, it should be logged, and it is required by the FARs to be logged. And, for a check ride, we need to see a log of ground school as well as the flight. So, it's, a typical instructor, he or she may have 4 or 5, 6 flights a day, and they're in a hurry. It's already 3 in the afternoon and they've got 2 more flights to go. They've already had a long day. And they may miss things. You may go out and you did a 1-hour flight and you were under the hood for a little while, and the instructor writes in there steep turn stalls, slow flight, and forgets to mention the simulated instrument time. And so it's you're the audit. So say to the instructor, hey, what about the hood time? Oh
that's a
forgot
good
about
one.
that.
Yeah, get that covered.
Yeah, so make sure what the instructor logs is accurate.
Don't agree to let them come do it next time. Don't leave your lesson and say, I'll write that in there next time.
Right.
Make sure they write it now.
Right.
That catching up in a logbook is very painful. So that's number 5, logbook endorsements. Number 4, briefings. You and your instructor should have a briefing before the flight and a briefing after the flight. You should both have a plan of attack, and then you're both agree to for that flight, and then you should have some feedback that you're getting from the instructor after the flight. This could be as short as 3 or 4 minutes. Hopefully it's in a private area at the flight school that you're taking lessons at, but you should be able to get both what they're thinking you're going to do in the air and then a debrief afterwards. I jokingly tell people the most expensive classroom in the world is the cockpit of an airplane when the airplane's running. It's just not the right place to be planning for the day.
It's it's not a great classroom. It's noisy, and it's probably, if it's summertime, it's probably hot in there. And, it's not unusual to say you're paying $180 an hour for the airplane and the instructor, and that's $3 a minute.
Yeah.
So that's pretty expensive classroom. In a perfect world, before you even get to the school, you should have an idea of what you're going to do, because that should have been something that hopefully was covered in the debrief from your last flight.
And that's bullet number 3. Your CFI should have an action plan for that day.
Right. So hopefully the debrief from the last flight, you got an overview of what you're going to do next time. Hopefully you have access to a syllabus, and so you know what you're supposed to do. Now, there could be weather situations where you've got a 2,000-foot ceiling, so maybe you can't get up and do the high work that you wanted to do today. So you're going to still take advantage of the instructor time, the airplane time, and you're going to do some pattern work. So there has to be a little bit of wiggle room in there, but definitely, you should know what you're going to do before you get in the airplane. And there could be situations where maybe the instructor wants to do a diversion with you, and so he or she may not mention that, and you get out there and actually do that in the air. But you should have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen before you get in that airplane.
Yeah, hold them accountable to that. Make sure they're telling you that before the day. I'm an owner of a flight school, and I sit here, and occasionally I still hear people in the lobby say, "What are we going to work on today?" And I will normally jump up quickly and say, "Hey, these things need to be you need to have a plan of attack, or why aren't you using the syllabus that we're providing?" Like, I hold people highly accountable to make sure that they do have that plan. And I get that instructors get busy and that people probably blend together. And if you've taken 10 weeks off, it's probably hard to keep up with. Do we need to go back and work on something, or are we going to work on what we said we're going to work on, but have a plan for the day? Number 2, we both feel strongly about this one. You should be getting quality instruction. You should be getting an instructor that is providing you value. It shouldn't feel like they're building time. It shouldn't feel like they're just riding along with you no matter what stage of your flight training you're in. Even if you're working on your CFII or MEI, you should be getting quality instruction from that instructor. Often I see a variance of handshake and then something else that happens, whether they go back to their office and work, or student goes to plane to pre-flight and instructor gets something to drink. Like, all those things are really going to happen, but when you and your instructor are working together, you should be getting quality instruction. And often that means, to me, early on in flight training, students are pre-flighting planes. That instructor should be overseeing every action that you have as part of that pre-flight. Everything that you do as it relates to pre-flight planning, they should be doing with you as well. They should be critiquing and coaching. They are your consultant. In corporate America, if you paid somebody to be your consultant, they would be doing a lot of coaching and overseeing, and that's what you should expect from your flight instructor. Wally, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. If you're going to go have heart bypass surgery, you're probably going to try to find the best surgeon you can. You're probably not going to even ask what the price is. You want the best surgeon. You want a quality instructor, obviously, and by and large, 98% of the ones that I get to work with are doing a really good job. But you should demand that.
No question. Quality instruction was number 2. And then the number 1 that we think you should be expecting and holding your instructor accountable for is having fun. This might be a little bit counterintuitive, but you should be having fun during your flight training. I think Wally and I have both seen people that don't have fun, and that's more on them than maybe the instructor or the relationship thereof. I think there's some students that don't want to be pilots, and maybe mom and dad are making them be pilots. But if you want to have fun, you should be holding your instructor to making the event fun and enjoyable. There should be times where they give you critical feedback. You shouldn't be best friends with your flight instructor. You shouldn't get too close with your flight instructor. You need them to be able to critique you and give you bad news if you're not doing something the right way, and respect their feedback. But you guys and girls should be having fun. No question.
When I was learning to fly, well, even today, many, many years down the road, getting to fly an airplane is pretty much the highlight of my day. And especially when I was a student pilot, my gosh, I scheduled usually 3 days a week, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd say, oh yeah, it's Tuesday. I don't get to fly today. But boy, tomorrow on Wednesday when the alarm went off, it was like, oh geez, I get to fly today. I get to go fly an airplane today. I watched an instructor, I don't know, a year ago, and I'll go ahead and throw out the disclaimer that the instructor happened to be my daughter at a flight school debrief. I got to watch her debrief a student, and they talked about what they had just done on the flight and everything, and she finished it up by saying to the student, "Did you have fun today?" And it was a light bulb moment for me. I went, wow, I've done a lot of flight instructing, and I have never said that to a student. And when she said that, the student lit up and said, yeah, I had fun. I had a blast. I can't wait to get back tomorrow or whenever it is.
Learning should be fun.
This should be fun. I mean, most people don't walk into a flight school because they feel like they have to go out and get their private pilot certificate. They do it because they want to get their private pilot certificate.
So let us know what you think of our midweek topics. This week was 5 things instructors should be held accountable for. Number 5, logbook endorsements. 4, briefings, both pre-flight briefings and post-flight briefings. Having an action plan for you was number 3. 2 is quality instruction. And the number 1 thing your instructor should be held accountable for is making sure you have fun as well. As always, fly safe and stay behind the prop.
Thanks for checking out the Behind the Prop podcast. Be sure to click subscribe and check us out online at behindtheprop.com. Behind the Prop is recorded in Houston, Texas. Creator and host is Bobby Doss. Co-host is Wally Mulhern. The show is for entertainment purposes only and is not meant to replace actual flight instruction. Thanks for listening, and remember, fly safe.